Thanksgiving was a little unusual this year. It was me, Uncle Bob, Aunt Marie, their 2 kids, Grandma, Grandpa, and Uncle David. Well, he didn't show up right away. He showed up later on in the evening. We almost had the table set up, ready to feast. Then the doorbell rang. "Who is it?" I called out. No response. Just another ring. I decided to go check it out. And as I looked through the peephole, there stood Uncle David. Now I know what you're thinking. It's just another family member. That's a good thing, right? Wrong. Uncle David had been missing for over 2 years. But there he was, just standing on my front porch. I reluctantly grabbed the door handle and slowly turned it. As I opened the door, all the cool fall wind rushed through the house. "Who is it, sweetie?" Grandma called out to me. But I didn't respond. I was too awestruck by what I saw in front of me. Uncle David, just standing there, with a weird grin plastered on his face, as if it was stuck that way. "So you gonna let your uncle inside or what?" I was stuck for a moment, but then I snapped out of my trance. I suddenly embraced my uncle. After not seeing him for 2 years, I couldn't control myself. I gave him a great big hug, and he hugged me back, patting me on the back. "Ah, there, kiddo. I was only gone for a little while." "You were gone for 2 years. Where the hell were you? What happened to you?" "Ah, nothing, Edward. Don't worry about it. I'm okay now. Come inside. We got a lot to catch up on. I'm sure everybody's going to be so happy to see you." "Yes, I'm sure they will." I led Uncle David towards the kitchen where everybody sat at the table. "Guys, you're not going to believe this. Look who I found on the front porch. Not a scratch on him either." Everybody sat silent for a minute as they stared at us. "David? Is that you?" Uncle Bob said. First time seeing his brother in over 2 years. It must have been quite the shock for him to see him there, standing in the kitchen. "What the hell happened to you? Where have you been?" Wouldn't you like to know?" Uncle Bob and Uncle David just stared at each other for a moment. When Uncle Bob suddenly got up out of his chair and rushed over to David to give him a hug. "Don't you ever scare us like that again, you fool." They laughed for a little bit, and then they both sat down at the dining room table, where we said grace, and everybody started eating. "So, what you been up to, Bob? How's the family been?" "Oh, you know, same old, same old. Just work, kids. You know how it is." "Oh, yes, that's understandable. I'm glad you guys have been all right. I just got one question, though. Why didn't you look for me, Bob?" Everybody grew quiet once more. Uncle Bob stopped eating and slowly looked up at David. We looked everywhere for you. Kept finding dead ends, false leads. After months and months of searching for you, we couldn't find you." And you know, David, you never answered my question. Where have you been? What happened to you out there? No need to dig up the past, bro. I'm just messing with you. Why are you avoiding the question, David? Hey guys, come on. Let's just be glad Uncle David came back to us in one piece. Yeah? I said. Whatever. Uncle Bob groaned as he sat back in his chair. Every few moments I caught Uncle Bob glaring at Uncle David. I'll admit, something did seem a little off with Uncle David. Made me feel a little uneasy. He wasn't typically the outgoing type, and yet tonight, he was the star of the show. I brought it up a little while later. Hey, Uncle David, you doing okay? Yeah, why? I don't know, you seem a little off. Sure you feeling okay? I'm fine. The way he dismissed my question with such a hollow answer made me feel nauseous. Several knots began to turn in my stomach. I suddenly felt the urge to vomit. Excuse me a moment. I got up from the table and went to the hallway, mostly to get a breath of fresh air. Behind me, the conversation picked back up, but I could tell it was forced. Nobody really knew what to say to Uncle David. He just suddenly showed up, like everything was normal, like he hadn't been missing for 2 years. Edward? I heard a whisper from behind me. I turned around to see Grandma. That man in there, are you sure that's David? Well, what do you mean, Grandma? That smile, grin, I have never seen that on his face before. And his eyes. I looked into them, but I couldn't see David behind them. Those aren't his eyes. Before I could respond, the hallway light started flickering. Once, then twice, then stopped. I suddenly heard David's voice from the other room. Everything all right back there? There was a quavering in my voice as I responded, trying to keep it cool. Yeah, I'm just getting some air, that's all. Ah, good. You should come back now. We got a lot to catch up on. There was something wrong about the way he said that last part. It was like it wasn't a suggestion, more of a demand. I reluctantly headed back towards the kitchen, Grandma tailing behind me, small hesitant steps. She was quite pale, not sickening, more like nervousness. I could tell she was thrown off by David just as much. Ah, Edward, you're just in time. I was just telling the family about where I was. Wasn't I? But nobody agreed. Nobody nodded their head yes. Nobody even made a sound. They were frozen, forks halfway to their mouths, eyes fixed on Uncle David, as if waiting for a cue. And what exactly were you telling them? I asked. His smile widened, more than ever now. But the skin around his mouth didn't move. The smile just creeped across his face, like a spider. You know, about the place that I stayed. People I met. They taught me things. Many things. A chill slid down my spine then. Things like what? David tilted his head, bird-like. You know, how to survive, how to listen, how to shed the parts of myself that I no longer needed. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, eyes locked on mine. And how to become something better.
Okay, David, enough of this cryptic crap. Tell us the truth. Tell us what really happened.
David looked up at Bob, slowly. When he did, his smile finally disappeared into nothing. Not a frown. Nothing. It was like a emotionless mask written across his face. I did tell you. You're just not ready to understand.
What does that mean, David?
David blinked once, but it seemed wrong. It was almost motionless, like a robot just doing what it was programmed to do. It means, he said, I didn't come here alone. Everyone stopped breathing. And they don't like to be kept waiting. Then came a sound from the front porch. A knock. A slow, deliberate knock. And then another. Then 3 more. David's smile returned, almost touching his ears now. You should get that, Edward. The knocking continued. Slow, heavy. Like whatever was out there had all the time in the world and a deep appreciation for dramatic timing. Knock. 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 Then one more, faster this time, like they were getting impatient. I didn't move. Nobody did. Even the kids froze, mid-chicken nugget. David raised an eyebrow at me. Edward, he said. It's rude to keep guests waiting, don't you know? Grandma whispered then. Then why don't you get it? I'm already inside. David shrugged. That's not really an answer, I muttered. One more knock approached. This one was much slower, almost tired, like they were ready to give up.
Oh, for the love of...
Uncle Bob suddenly rose up.
Fine, I'll get it. But if it's Girl Scout cookies, I'm taking 3 boxes just to cope.
He stomped towards the door, muttering something about family drama season 2. The rest of us leaned in, watching the doorway.
Oh, come on, really?
We all exchanged horrified looks, then rushed towards the doorway. On the front porch stood a tall, shadowy figure, holding a casserole dish. A casserole dish wrapped in foil, with a little bow on top.
Hello.
The figure said, in a voice like a rusty attic door.
David said it was bad luck.
David waved from behind us in the kitchen. They make a killer green bean casserole. No joke. It'll change your life. The figure nodded.
It has onions.
Grandpa Joe squinted at the being, who was approximately 7 feet tall, shaped like a coat rack, and had what looked like a glowing eye under its hood.
Well,
Grandpa said, stroking his chin.
As long as there's no mushrooms in it, I'm allergic.
Creature tilted its head.
There are no mushrooms in the Shadow Realm.
Grandpa.
Perfect. Perfect.
Before anyone could stop him, he took the casserole and walked back towards the kitchen like it was just another Sunday supper. I whispered, "We are not eating that." David patted me on the back. "Don't knock it till you try it." "I'm not knocking it, David," I said. "I'm terrified of it." Behind us, the creature stepped fully inside and wiped its feet on the welcome mat. Very politely, I might add. Then it looked around the room and said in that echoing cosmic voice,
Where should I put the coats?
Grandma suddenly fainted, hitting the floor like a sack of potatoes. The creature blinked.
Was it something I said?
Welcome to Thanksgiving, I sighed. Turns out Grandma didn't actually faint. She just simply dropped to her knees to pray aggressively, which was honestly more unsettling. The tall casserole creature just watched her like it was observing a wildlife documentary. But David was still smiling. The same too-wide, too-toothy grin. The kind that looked like someone had studied a human smile, but didn't practice enough reps. He clapped his hands suddenly. "All right," he said cheerfully. "Let's get back to eating." Uncle Bob pointed a fork at him.
We are not pretending like everything is normal. You disappeared for 2 years. You show up looking like a thrift store mannequin that learned emotions from a YouTube tutorial. And now you've brought...
He gestured towards the hooded figure.
a casserole demon.
The creature raised a finger.
Technically, I'm not a demon. More of a creature.
All right, because that makes it so much better.
Okay, look. Enough is enough. If you're my real uncle, tell me something only he would know. David paused. His grin twitched. His eye twitched. His hair twitched. Then he leaned in and whispered, "You wet the bed until you were 11. I slapped my forehead. "Every cousin knew that, David." Grandpa Joe piped up from the kitchen.
And some of us still do.
"It's Joe!" Grandma snapped at Grandpa Joe mid-prayer. David sighed, annoyed, like he was disappointed we weren't falling for his performance anymore. "Fine," he said. "You want the truth?" We all tensed. The casserole creature took out a tiny notepad like it was ready to take meeting notes. David stood straighter, too straight. His shoulders rose higher than human shoulders should. His neck grew slightly longer, like he was accidentally revealing DLC content we weren't supposed to see yet. "My name," he said in a low, vibrating voice, "is not David." We stepped back. "It is something you cannot pronounce." Grandpa peeked in with a spoon.
Try me.
David ignored him. His smile stretched wider, too wide. His teeth rearranged themselves. There were more of them now. "I borrowed this form," he said, tone almost offended, "because your uncle wandered somewhere he shouldn't have." Marie gasped. Is he okay? Oh, yes, David said brightly, as if delivering good news. He's still alive.
Oh.
Everyone exhaled a tiny sigh of relief. Mostly. Everyone inhaled it right back in. What do you want? I asked. He opened his hands, palms too large, fingers too long. A simple thing. A place at the table. A holiday. A family. He actually looked hopeful. The casserole creature nodded encouragingly. But you could have just knocked, I said. Instead, you replaced my uncle? David shrugged, emotion contorting his entire torso like a marionette dancing wrong. He was in my way. Uncle Bob crossed his arms.
Well, we want the real David back.
Humans and your attachments. Grandma finally stood up, dusted off her dress, marched right up to him, and poked him in the chest. Now you listen here, skin somebody. You bring my boy back, and then we'll discuss whether you get pie. Pie? The creature blinked. Pumpkin pie, she said. David looked genuinely tempted. With whipped cream? She nodded. The skinwalker swallowed hard. I must consult my associate. Excuse me a moment. The casserole creature raised a foil.
Can I have pie too?
No, Grandma said instantly. You brought the cursed casserole. The creature looked crushed, defeated even. And then David sighed dramatically. Fine. I suppose we can negotiate. He cracked his neck. His skin rippled like he was adjusting the David suit. Let me go get your real uncle. He stepped towards the hallway closet. I blinked. He's in the closet? Skinwalker David turned back. Well, yeah. Where else would I put him? I'm not a monster. Casserole creature cleared its throat. Okay, he's a monster, David said. Skinwalker David sauntered through the hallway closet like he was about to unveil a surprise party guest. Everyone followed cautiously, except Grandma, who marched ahead like she was ready to spank a supernatural creature with her sandal. The Skinwalker grabbed the closet handle, paused dramatically, and said, "Prepare yourselves." He swung the door open. Inside stood the real Uncle David, tied up with... Were those Christmas lights? Yes, Christmas lights. Multicolor, twinkling. He also had a party hat on. He blinked at us. Hey guys. Grandma pointed accusingly at Skinwalker. Why does he look like he's been to a birthday party? Skinwalker lifted a finger. Kept screaming, so I tried to lighten the mood. It did not lighten the mood, the real David said. You played Happy Birthday on repeat for 4 hours. The casserole creature, still standing politely to the side, added,
We thought it was festive.
Uncle David shook his head. I am traumatized. Festively traumatized. Uncle Bob shoved past everyone and started unwrapping his brother like a frustrated cat owner, removing tinsel from a Christmas tree.
You've been gone for 2 years, and you were, what? In a closet getting force-fed holiday spirit?
David rubbed his wrists. Well, not the whole time. Sometimes I was in a basement, or a trunk, or a cave. Honestly, they moved me around a lot. It was like an Airbnb tour of places you should never go. The skinwalker crossed its arms and huffed. You act like we didn't take good care of you. You had water, snacks.
What snacks?
Uncle Bob exclaimed. David glared at the skinwalker. He gave me 1 granola bar. Skinwalker threw up his hands. It was high protein. Grandpa Joe walked up and sniffed David.
Smells like pine air freshener.
That's because they hung one on me, David said. Like I was a used Honda. The skinwalker shrugged. You were sweaty. Grandma shoved past the skinwalker, cupped David's face, and said, Baby, are you hurt? No, David said. Just deeply confused and mildly sparkly. He gestured to the bits of glitter stuck in his hair from the party hat. Skinwalker David clapped his hands, smiling. So, he's fine. Crisis averted. Now, about that pie. Grandma's eyes narrowed. You get pie after you apologize. Skinwalker blinked. Apologize? For what? Everyone stared at him. He sighed dramatically, rolling his eyes so hard his eyelids practically glitched. Fine. He turned to the real David. I'm sorry I wore your body like a rental tuxedo and stored you like a holiday ornament. David rubbed his temples. You don't sound sorry at all. Casserole creature nodded.
No, he doesn't.
Skinwalker groaned louder. Okay. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have borrowed your shape without permission, or tied you up, or made you listen to festive human jingles. Grandma crossed her arms. And the skinwalker mumbled, You're not a used Honda. David squinted. Say it without sarcasm. Skinwalker choked on the words, but forced them out. You are a valued individual. Real David nodded, satisfied. There we go. Grandma clapped her hands. All right, who wants pie? The casserole creature raised his hand. No, not you. It lowered his hand, defeated once more. We all shuffled back into the dining room, exhausted, traumatized, maybe a little hungry again. Grandma sliced the pie with military precision, handing out plates like she was rationing dessert during a sugar shortage. The skinwalker sat stiffly at the table now, still shaped like Uncle David, but clearly trying much too hard to be normal. His smile was smaller, more reasonable, but his eyebrows kept moving independently, like two caterpillars arguing with each other. He folded his napkin, perfectly. Too perfectly. So, he said, how do humans eat? Real Uncle David looked at him. With our mouths? Skinwalker nodded thoughtfully. Ah, yes, I have one of those. He picked up the fork wrong, holding it in a full fist like he was about to stab someone, and very slowly began raising a piece of pie towards his face. Everyone leaned back in unison. He took a bite. He froze. For several seconds, the skinwalker sat completely still, eyes wide, fork suspended midair. Then, in a voice of pure awe, he whispered, "This is better than the Void Realm." Grandma smirked. "Told you." The casserole creature, sitting quietly on a stool, raised its hand.
May I
No!
try some?
The whole family said at once. It lowered its hand again. The skinwalker ate another piece, a much bigger bite this time, and gasped. "It is transcendent. What is this? What humanity is fighting wars over?"
No, but honestly, it should be.
Uncle Bob said. The skinwalker stood, trembling. I must thank you all." We waited. And then right there at the dinner table, his body began distorting, melting, reshaping until he was just a weird shadowy creature hovering above Grandma's good tablecloth. Everyone screamed and backed up. The casserole creature applauded politely. The skinwalker held up one long, shadowy hand. "Do not fear," he said, glowing faintly. "I have tasted the sacred dessert of your people. I have seen the light. I will no longer take skins." He paused. "Unless," he added casually, "you run out of pie." "No," Grandma barked. "We never run out of pie." The skinwalker bowed. "Then we have peace." He floated towards the front door, followed by the casserole creature. But before leaving, he turned back and asked, "Do humans do this holiday often?" "Once a year," I said. He nodded thoughtfully. "Perfect. I shall return next
No!
Thanksgiving." Three different relatives yelled. "With better side dishes," he finished. The casserole creature waved its empty dish.
We will improve the recipe.
No mushrooms this time.
No mushrooms.
The casserole creature repeated proudly. The two beings stepped outside finally. The door closed behind them. We all stood silent for a moment. Then the real David said, "Well, that was weird." Uncle Bob clapped him on the back.
Buddy, you have no idea.
Grandma sighed, taking her seat. "All right. Let's finish dinner before anything else shows up." Everyone sat. Everyone ate. We all calmed down a bit. Right up until another knock sounded at the door. We all froze. Grandpa shouted,
If it's another casserole demon, tell them we're full.
I went to the door and opened it just an inch. A delivery guy was standing there, confused. One large pizza for Skinwalker Dave?" Everyone groaned. Grandma grabbed the pizza box. "He's not here anymore, and he can't have dessert delivered anymore. Goodbye." Grandma slammed the door shut. And that's how Thanksgiving ended this year. Quite the interesting turn of events. Ended with a rescued uncle, a traumatized family, and a skinwalker who now has a taste for pumpkin pie, apparently. Honestly, could have been worse.